tree in your yard starting to lean a little too much? Branches hanging over your roof? Don't wait until it's too late. Call ECR Total Landscapes today. At ECR Total Landscapes, we specialize in safe, professional tree removal, trimming, and storm damage cleanup. So if you've got trees that need to go, now is the time to give us a call. Plus, we're offering free stump grinding now through the end of the year when you use or mention promo code FANRUN. That's right, free stump grinding for FanRun Radio listeners. At ECR Total Landscapes, we live up to our name by offering total landscape services. In addition to tree cutting, we also offer a wide range of landscape installation services and custom monthly maintenance packages that create stunning outdoor spaces tailored to your vision. Give us a call today to schedule a free estimate at 865-384-2012 or just visit us online at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
And here we go, live from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's the Playbook presented by PIP. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine day from Cape Town. It's bowl season for Tennessee. The Liberty Music City Bowl going down today in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're here to get you ready for the action. An all-day event here at Tennessee Tap House. My first time ever being here. Really cool spot.
Yes.
I love all of the big screens. It's always a telltale sign that they come back to a place. They've got some big screens. They got some greens here. One is behind us. If you're on YouTube, you can see it in action. But really excited to be here. We've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including our Music City Bowl preview, getting into the keys to the game, storylines to watch for, and much more. And then an hour number two, we'll talk college football playoff. We quarterfinal matchups this weekend. Four games going down. We'll talk about those. Also a little transfer talk too, because that's the talk down here in Knoxville right now. We continue to try and figure out who's going to be a new member of Tennessee's football team next year. Hopefully, a few new members, especially on that defensive side of the football. But we'll talk about that and get ready for all the action on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So really excited to be here. Good crowd today. We'll start filling out a little more as the game gets a little bit closer. The drive falls up until kickoff. We've literally got a whole day schedule around this game leading up to the action. Come watch it with Fan Run here at Tennessee Tap House. It's going to be a great time. Let's welcome the rest of the crew. Brett, how are you today?
Good man.
Fired up.
Double game day.
Yeah.
We kind of basketball game tonight too, but big talk is obviously the football team. Football game tonight. We'll kind of roll out. Ready to go, and some new faces. We might see things like that. So there's a lot to get into, and excited it's game day again.
Excited that it's game day once again.
Yeah.
Always a good thing. Let's get into our first things first topic. It's our Music City Bowl preview. As number 23 Tennessee will look to secure its fourth consecutive 9-win season as it wraps up its 2025 campaign on Tuesday evening against Illinois, the Fighting Illini out of the Big Ten, in the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl at Nissan Stadium. Now, I'm not a big fan of Nissan Stadium, I must say, but a bowl game's a bowl game, an opportunity to play another down of football, which is always good. And this game kicks off 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. You can watch it with us here at Tennessee Tap House. And when the Volunteers square off against the Fighting Illini on Tuesday, it'll mark the 6th straight year that UT has played at least one game in Nashville. And that dates all the way back to 2020. And the Big Orange will also be playing their 9th game all-time in Nissan Stadium, home of the NFL's Tennessee Titans. Tony B and company were talking about at the end of the show. Mike Keith, the former voice of the Tennessee Titans, now with the Volunteers. He'll be making a reappearance in the radio booth there. And Tennessee is 6-2 in their previous 8 contests at the venue, including a 1-1 mark under head coach Josh Heupel. And obviously that last matchup was the last time this Tennessee team was in the Music City Bowl against Purdue, which ended up being a hell of a game, a very good game, but obviously did not end in the fashion that Tennessee would want it to. But we'll dive into our keys to the game for tonight, as we always do at the top of a game day show or a lead up to a game day show. I think this is actually the first time we've had a game day show. I
think so.
Because we always do it on Friday.
Yes,
and now,
that's true.
This is the first weekday game of the season for the Volunteers. But I'll begin with mine. And first off, it's get in rhythm early. Tennessee, under Josh Heupel, always has to get things going early. We know that. But Tennessee leads the country in first quarter points this season with 12.9 points per first quarter. And a lot of that is coming from those scripted first drives, right? Where Josh Heupel dials up those first 10 plays, you march down the field, get on the scoreboard early, and that creates momentum. And in the games this season that Tennessee has done that, you've gotten off to a good start. And you've most of the time carried that the rest of the way. So getting off to a good start, a fast start, is very important. And you got to put up 7. You got to put up 7 as many times as you can, because we know this Tennessee defense already going to be without a defensive coordinator in Tim Banks. Now, that might make things better. But this is also a group that's going to be missing Arian Carter, a team leader, Colton Hood, a projected first-round, early second-round pick in the NFL draft. Obviously, Jeremiah McCoy is on this list as well. We didn't see him all year. But you're going to be missing some key defensive players, including Joshua Joseph. So you're going to be missing some key defensive guys. That the defensive side of the football has been a struggle throughout the year. You need to put up as many points as possible, and you get that done by starting off fast, getting off to that hot start. My second key is going to be creating pressure. And that's what Tennessee has been predicated on all season long, getting pressure, forcing turnovers, and getting points off of those turnovers. But again, as I mentioned, no Joshua Josephs in this one, no Arian Carter in this one. Those are 2 guys that put a lot of pressure on opposing offenses. So this is a tough setup for a couple of new guys I'm going to come into the mix. But Rodney Garner has done an incredible job of recruiting and bringing the right guys into the program. So you have to have the confidence that we'll maybe see an Isaiah Campbell today, a former, highly rated prospect at a high school in that 2025 class. We could see a little bit of him today. Who knows? But I think it's all about getting pressure on these guys, because the Fighting Illini have allowed 31 sacks this season. Only 2 Big Ten teams allowed more in the regular season. That's part of the why getting out to a big lead is so important, because if you're able to get to the quarterback and Luke Altmaier, you're able to get that pressure. This is a team that has been prone to getting behind the chains because of their offensive line woes. The third and final key for me is establish the run. And you're going to have Chris Brazzell the second out of this one. He's had an incredible season. We talked about it yesterday. A lot of opt-outs. But not as many as you've seen across the country, where some teams barely have anyone playing for that matter. But I think it's important to establish the run, because this is a Illinois defense that ranks just outside the top 30 nationally, while its pass defense ranks 8th or 80th nationally. So there's going to be a lot of attention for Illinois in terms of, okay, we've got to be able to stop the pass today. We know that's a little bit of a liability of ours, but I think for Tennessee, you can kind of spurn that in your direction and say, let's run the ball at a good rate. And then we can do a little bit of everything. We can get it done in the pass game, which Tennessee has done throughout the season. If you get it done in the run game, now you've got the balance, and you've really got this Illinois defense on its heels. So I think those 3 things right there, getting in rhythm early, a first quarter team that puts up 12.9 points per game in Tennessee, getting off to that fast start, those scripted plays, getting down the field, creating that pressure, getting to Illinois' quarterback, Luke Altmaier, a team that has allowed 31 sacks this season. That is a bread and butter for opposing defenses. And finally, establishing the run with Deshaun Bishop, maybe even a little DeJuan Morris. We'll see. But I think Bishop is a guy that really improved over the course of the season, has established himself as that running back one heading into next year. And I think this is a big opportunity for him to make some plays. We'll talk about some other younger guys that can make those leaps, as we saw Jalen Hyatt do so in the Music City Bowl back in 2021. But in terms of my keys, those are my three. Get in rhythm early, create pressure, establish the run. Brett, your keys to tonight's action.
Yeah, I love all those. I guess the one key I have is, what team's going to come out of the tunnel? Are we going to come out with some energy? Last time, we saw us in action. We didn't have a lot of effort. A lot of the team, probably ate us for lunch, things like that. So I'm looking at what kind of team Heupel puts out on the field. We've had a couple of weeks off. Let this Vanderbilt loss kind of go under the wayside and try and get fired up for this one. Protecting Aguilar is going to be a key. Kind of struggled towards the back end of the season. Obviously, they're missing a very key piece on their side of the football with Jacobs out. 11 sacks.
Yeah.
So that's a big help for our edge, or tackles and things like that. So, what kind of energy we're going to have? Protecting Aguilar. Is he going to have time to look downfield, make those big plays, things like that, which we've seen a lot of. Tackling. A lot of guys on this defense, Jim Knowles, he may not be at the game, but he's going to be watching, taking notes. Which guy's going to pop for him?
Mm-hmm.
These guys are playing to stay on the team, kind of, because you're going to have end of the year conversations. Hey, we're going to move on, or different things like that, or you can help us. So I'm looking at a lot of the, key young pieces, key guys that are going to get some minutes now with the guys you mentioned being out, things like that. So, so energy for me, protecting Aguilar and, just tackling, making plays on defense. Who's gonna step up and make a name for themselves today?
Well, I'm trying to. I don't know if that comes over the air, but did you hear the email?
Yeah, I do. I hear it. Yeah,
I'm trying to get the email off of here. Let me go in the focus mode. There we go. At these remotes, we're trying to make sure we're in communication with Walker Smith back at the station, doing a great job. By the way,
he's the key to this operation.
He is. He's kind of like the center. Might be the quarterback, might be the wide receiver, but the center is the guy that snaps it, right?
Absolutely. He's the guy up in the box calling the play.
Exactly.
Right?
We got our OC, Walker Smith, at the station doing a great job. We appreciate his work. So keys to the game out of the way. Let's talk some storylines now. And in 2025, bowl games and the importance of bowl games have continued to diminish over the last couple of years. But as I've talked about, and as we've talked about over the last month or so, I think winning a game like tonight is important for momentum heading into the offseason, right? Where you've got a lot of these guys you're going after in the portal. They're watching this game. If they know they're, potentially going to a Tennessee, they're watching and seeing how this team looks, how this team is composed a month after a really difficult loss to Vanderbilt. So I think tonight is really important because Tennessee will be playing in its 57th all-time bowl game / postseason game, whatever you want to call it, a 30-26 record all-time when it takes on Illinois tonight, a mark that is tied for 7th nationally with LSU. And this will also be the Vols' 4th time playing in the Music City Bowl after defeating Nebraska in 2016 and dropping a pair of contests in North Carolina back in 2010. We know how that one went. And then Purdue in 2021. If we're going on the trend, maybe this one won't be a controversial one because you had North Carolina controversial, Nebraska wasn't controversial.
No.
Purdue was controversial. Maybe this is the part of the trend where Tennessee doesn't have some ridiculous end to the game.
Hope. Yes.
But regardless, I read those numbers just to read off the type of history that Tennessee has, a team that is constantly in bowl games. It's an expectation to win over 6 games and an expectation that was kind of dwindling there for a minute in the mid to late 2010s under a couple of bad coaches. Josh Heupel's brought you back to that. But heading into next season, you've got to continue this momentum. You've got to find momentum. Losing to Vanderbilt in your own building, that axed a lot of momentum.
Yep.
And, that Florida win was great. A Tennessee team that has not beaten Florida in the swamp since 2003. That was some momentum. It would have been even sweeter if you could have finished it against Vanderbilt. You don't do so. So now I think a bowl game like tonight, even in 2025 in the current college football landscape that we see, it is important to a team like Tennessee to go out there and get a win, to build some momentum into next season. And I think, all the talk about bowl games, it differs for some teams, but for a Tennessee team tonight, it does matter. What do you make of the importance of the bowl game tonight?
It's huge. You know my feelings on Heupel right now. I think he's firmly on the hot seat for me. He needs to, really carry this offseason by winning today, winning in the portal, things like that. He's shown he's won some battles off the field, outside a couple of names, but he really needs to gain some momentum with the fan base, with himself, with the team, with players watching, different things like that. Tennessee's a big brand, and we're better than playing in the Music City Bowl. We should be better than the Music City Bowl. The schedule's set up for us. You lose 3 or 4 at home this year, different things like that. In most regards, it was not a very good. It was a terrible season. So this is a very important. The portal opens in 3 days. So yeah, it's very important. It could really put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths as you lose 5 games this year.
Yeah.
That's losing 3 of your last 5 games. I think it is. And losing the way you did this year, it'd be a tough pill to swallow if you lose to Illinois. And I don't want to see that happen, to be honest.
Well, an even tougher pill to swallow. So Missouri, with their loss to Virginia in the Tax Layer Bowl the other night, the only team, in this top 40 kind of landscape of these, Power 4 teams that people have some credibility with, Missouri did not beat a team with a winning record this season. The other team that hasn't done that, that's Tennessee. That's Tennessee. Tennessee has not been a team with a winning record this season, and I think that would be an embarrassment.
Absolutely.
Illinois is a solid club. I liked them in the beginning of the season. They've got a lot of good players, and a couple of them not going to be available for this one. But for Tennessee's sake, how can you go into the offseason knowing that you didn't beat a team with a winning record this year? And I think that would be something to gripe about as well. But regardless, you still got to go win the football game. You can't think about all these other, little intricate storylines. But again, they all add up. They all add up if you lose a game like this. Tennessee 2-2 in postseason games under Josh Heupel, posting wins over Iowa in the 2024 Citrus Bowl and Clemson in the 2022 Orange Bowl. Both those games were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, let's hope we get one of those this year. But a big thing tonight, takeaways into points. It's been what this defense has been predicated on throughout the season. And I do want to touch on this because obviously Tim Banks is gone, and that was the right move heading into the offseason. It kind of felt like there was a 50-50 chance he would go.
Right.
Tennessee decides to move on from that, and Josh Heupel really made a historic move. He's never really moved on from an assistant before on his own doing, fired him. So he moves on from Banks. You're missing your best linebacker in Arian Carter. That's the guy that's communicating, right? So you're missing that piece as well, and you're going to have to create turnovers. You're going to have to turn those points turn those takeaways into points like you have all season. And the Vols are one of the nation's best teams when it comes to scoring defensive touchdowns, leading the Power 4 and ranking second in the FBS with 6 defensive scores this season. That's 3 interception returns, 3 fumble returns. And Tennessee has forced 18 turnovers in total this year, tied for the second most in the SEC, and has forced multiple turnovers in 8 of its 12 games. We know that's going to be important. But do you expect that we're going to see a lot of that tonight with a lot of guys out? I think it's going to be tough too, and that puts a lot of pressure on guys like Jeremiah Thielander, a veteran linebacker in that room, hopes to play again next year under Jim Knowles. Yeah. We'll see if you find some better guys to maybe fill his role. But Jaden Perlotte is a guy I really like. He's a headhunter. He's a guy that flies to the football. I think you can get some production from him. I think you can get production from the defensive line, but now you're missing Colton Hood. And Colton Hood was like your saving grace this year in terms of the secondary with him out of the mix. I think in terms of getting interceptions and stuff like that, I think that might be something we won't see. But I think in terms of, creating tackles for losses, I think could still be a way of turning turnovers into points. I know it wouldn't come up on the box score as a turnover, but just creating tackles for loss and causing havoc with that defensive line, with those linebackers, I think is the best method for Tennessee to try and continue what they've done throughout the season. What do you expect from the Vols with the opt-outs on the defensive side of the ball in this equation as well? What do you expect from them defensively?
Yeah, it's your automatic thought is going to struggle. You're losing your best 3 defensive players at each level of the defense. That's not easy to overcome most cases. Altmaier, been up and down this season, but he's an experienced quarterback. Didn't throw many picks. I think 5 on the season. And the thing you got to watch out for him is he can move a little bit. He can get outside the pocket and make plays like that. Didn't run for a lot of yards, but a lot of that goes back to sacks and things like that. So, we did struggle on third down defense and things like that. I think of those as kind of turnovers when you're, getting the ball back to your offense. Yeah. Winning third downs would be huge today because that means you're putting your offense back on the field that your offense is hopefully rolling today and things like that. So, I think it's going to have to come away by, a big tackle for loss, strip sack, something like that. I don't see us happening on the back end per se, but it's been the key to the defense, getting pressure and getting turnovers. And, my mindset right now is, it's going to be a struggle to do that today.
Sure. Well, it's going to put a lot of pressure on this Tennessee offense. When we come back, we'll talk about the young stars that could possibly pop up tonight for the Tennessee team, as well as talking about these milestones to watch for. You got some players tonight that milestone in Tennessee history. We'll talk about it right here on the presented by VIP on Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing
long benefits and help preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced. Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service, 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit matlocktireservice.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us, however you may be doing so, live at Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville. Great environment today. A lot of people enjoying a nice little late lunch before Tennessee and Illinois get into action tonight in Nashville. Again, we were talking in that first segment, keys to the game, some storylines into this one. Let's continue it here. Talking about these young stars for Tennessee football this year, these guys that have really impressed in their first kind of opportunities with this group. UT produced an impressive 5 freshman All-Americans this season by various outlets. Braylon Staley, wide receiver, Jesse Perry on the offensive line, Edwin Spillman, another one of those defensive members, Ty Redmond, all named to the Athletic Freshman All-American team, marking the most players by any team in the nation. And then David Sanders Jr. was recognized on the 24/7 Sports and On3 Freshman All-American teams as well. And Redmond was also tabbed to that 24/7 Sports team. And, I made the parallel earlier in the show. Jalen Hyatt, 2021 Music City Bowl. That was kind of his coming out party.
Yep.
A lot of people learned that name heading into 2022 because of what he did in that Music City Bowl. And again, a lot of people say, bowl games don't matter.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care about the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl, but it's an opportunity for guys like a Radarius Jackson, guys like a Travis Smith Jr. to showcase what they can do. And they're going to be focal points of next year's offense. You're losing Chris Brazel II. You got Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, but with the transfer portal, you never know who's sticking around.
Right.
Radar Jackson, Travis Smith Jr., two guys I've really liked to see more of throughout the season. Radar playing as much as he did early in the season tells me Josh Heupel's got some confidence in this guy moving forward. So I'm excited to see him tonight. I'm excited to see what Radarius Jackson looks like. I'm excited to see what this offense looks like without a Biletnikoff semifinalist and Chris Brazel. So I'd say I'm looking for Radar Jackson on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I want some more Jaden Perlotti.
Yeah,
I wish we had more of him throughout the season. I thought he was a guy that kind of got inserted into that lineup middle of the season, almost kind of like, and I hate to say this name out loud, but Boo Carter, kind of what Boo Carter looked like his freshman year, where he kind of got inserted into the lineup and continued to make big plays over the course of the season. I look at Jaden Perlotti that way as well. I'm also intrigued by these young defensive linemen that we didn't really get to see this year. Defensive line depth was an issue, but you did have a couple of veteran guys that plugged the holes. And outside of Joshua Josephs, everyone's still going to be a go. But I'd love to see some Isaiah Campbell. I'd love to see a couple of these guys you recruited over the last couple of years on that defensive line get some action tonight as well. Hopefully it's not at the cost of a guy going down with injury or it's a blowout. In Tennessee's case, I hope it's a blowout the other way. But those are the young guys I'm watching for tonight. Any young players that you're excited about, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, all those ones you mentioned are going to be key pieces next year. I'm excited to see them. Obviously, we talk about the quarterback a lot. Obviously, I would love to see Mac, but I don't think we're going to get that wish today, at least, unless it's a blowout on our end. Things like that. I think mine is more defensive side of the ball. I want to see Ty Redmond continue to take another step. I mean, he was another guy you mentioned on some of those, all conference teams, all freshman teams, things like that, because I think he could be a guy that sticks around for, 3-4 years, possibly, if Knowles likes him enough and things like that. I want to see, even though he's been here for, a couple of years now, Ethan Davis, the tight end. He's given me a lot of hope for next year with what he's done in those last couple of games. Once he's finally got some run, maybe he's finally figured it out mentally or whatever the hurdle might be for him, things like that. But again, and maybe Dwayne Morris, a kid that, has kind of been on the back shoulder, been on back punt duty, kickoff returns, things like that, but also made some plays against some of the lesser competition and things like that. He's going to get some definite carries today. Yeah. Bishop's not going to be able to go the whole time, things like that. So Dwayne Morris is another guy that you're kind of excited about. But, your offensive line's relatively young, and they've been unbelievable this year. It gives you a lot of positive momentum for the offensive line moving forward. So Marion Dye, another young player, things like that. So, we are a young football team when you really think about it, and it's kind of exciting for the future. But, I'm looking forward to a lot of these guys we've mentioned.
Exciting for a night like tonight where you're going to get some extended run for some of these players. You're going to get opportunities for some guys to, get some bowl season looks. I think you're going to see that in the running back room for sure.
Right.
With no Payne Lewis, he's entering the transfer portal. Deshaun Bishop, the Carnes high school standout, established himself over the course of the season as the running back one. He will be so tonight. But that means you're going to have to get some Justin Baker and Dwayne Morris action.
Right.
And that could be exciting because those guys are really trying to fight for a spot right now. They're trying to prove to Heupel and company, hey, we don't need to go in the portal to get a running back. You got one right here. Yeah. So I think that's some motivation. But we talk about the running back room and Deshaun Bishop. Let's talk about these milestones that we're watching for tonight. A couple of different Vols are within reach of impressive milestones entering this year's Music City Bowl. Redshirt sophomore running back Deshaun Bishop needs just 17 rushing yards to eclipse 1,000 for the season. By doing so, Bishop would become the third Tennessee running back in as many years to hit the 1,000-yard mark, joining Dylan Sampson in 2024 when he had 1,491, and then Jalen Wright in 2023 when he had 1,013. So there's one milestone to watch for. Another milestone to watch for is Braylon Staley needs one reception to break Tennessee's freshman record, true or redshirt, of 64 set by Kelly Washington in 2001. And he is also one touchdown catch short of tying Justin Hunter and his freshman record, true or redshirt, of 7 set in 2012. So those are some pretty cool ones. This next one is really, really cool.
Okay.
Who's probably the most legendary quarterback in Tennessee football history?
That'd be Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, the sheriff, right?
That's right.
Well, senior quarterback Joey Aguilar needs 242 yards tonight to break Peyton Manning's single-season program record for total offense in a season. He had 3,789 in 1997. The sheriff was the man with the plan back then. Aguilar has been the man with the plan this season since coming over from Appalachian State. He enters Tuesday's contest with 3,548 yards of total offense, including a Heupel-era high 3,444 passing yards. And it's kind of interesting that he's the Heupel high because you've had a Hendon Hooker who was a top 5 finalist in the Heisman Trophy. Now, I know Hooker got injured at the end of the season, didn't get to finish it out the way he wanted to. But Joey Aguilar, a guy that, came in May, stepped on campus for the first time in June. This guy's coming here and rewritten the record books almost, has an opportunity to tonight. So out of these three, who has the biggest day? And I would project it's going to be Aguilar because this very well could be his last game. I'm sure the broadcast will mention it multiple times tonight that he is involved in a lawsuit. One of 26 JUCO players a part of it. I'd get a tally mark out for that one and how many times I mentioned that. But it could be his last game, right? So this is his one last opportunity to A, showcase what he can do at the NFL level, B, showcase what he can do in one final spot in college. So I look for Aguilar to have the biggest night, and that's going up against the Illinois pass defense that has been inconsistent this season. That's what I look for in terms of these milestone watches. What about you? Are you a Joey Aguilar guy as well?
Yeah, but I think all three of these will be broken today. Obviously, I think 17 yards is very doable. The freshman receiver record for Brandon Staley should be gone off the board too. But I mean, it speaks for itself. In a short amount of time that he was here on campus, things like that, and he's really made life better for Heupel because his offense had struggled the last couple of seasons, and we know what Heupel's offense is all about and things like that. So Aguilar should have a huge day. He's going to need a huge day, I think, because I think Altmaier and Illinois is going to probably put up some points on their end.
Sure,
things like that. So I anticipate Aguilar hopefully going out on a high note today.
Well, you mentioned that Illinois team. Let's talk a little bit more about them, getting to know our foe, as Illinois is led by head coach Brett Bielema, who is finishing his 5th season with the program. The Fighting Illini boasted 8-4 record, including a 5-4 mark in Big Ten play this season, and are receiving votes in both the AP and coaches poll to round out the year. And before we get into the type of team that Brett Bielema has, let's talk a little bit about Brett Bielema, because I think this is an intriguing bowl matchup because of the two coaches involved here. Both these guys don't like to lose. And as we've talked about a couple of times already, bowl season doesn't have as pop and polish as it used to. But don't tell Brett Bielema that, and don't tell Josh Heupel that. These guys care every time their team steps out on the field, and they will be ready to go. And Bielema has that SEC experience during his time at Arkansas. And I think, this is a great coaching matchup because Bielema's going to make sure these guys are in position to win the game. They're going to be playing to their full extent, full effort. And we've seen a couple of teams this bowl season, even on Saturday, Georgia Tech, an example. It went against me because I had Georgia Tech on the plus 3.5, and it made me mad. But that looked like a team that kind of bought out in the second half. Whatever, bowl season, whatever. We'll play. We'll see how it goes. That looked like a team that was lacking attention to detail. I don't think Brett Bielema is going to have a squad lacking attention to detail. I don't think Josh Heupel will as well. So I think you've got two motivated coaches here, which I think sets up for a good bowl season matchup. What do you make of Brett Bielema, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's got coaching, a lot of experience, coached at all levels. He was at Arkansas there for a while and things like that. So he's kind of a no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
I fully anticipate his team to be ready to go. They're going to be like you said, well-disciplined, competitive, fiery, all those details. And Heupel's the same way. I mean, this is a good coaching matchup with two quality football teams. I think they're similar in how they go about their business and things like that. And I think it's, like you said, it's going to be a fun matchup on the sidelines as well.
I want to talk a little bit about Luke Altmaier. Tennessee fans may remember him. Last year, Nico Iamaleava decides, I either want some more money or I want to go see my family in California. I don't know which one he wants to choose. But Luke Altmaier, a former Ole Miss quarterback from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, he was at Illinois. Tennessee was like, hey, we got to go get a guy. Now, they ended up getting Joey Aguilar, who's been a big hit this season. But Luke Altmaier was one of those guys Tennessee tried to get in with. And he ends up staying with Illinois. They asked him about it in the media availability leading up to today's matchup. And he said a couple of weeks back, at the end of the day, it's what college football is. I don't really make much of it. At the end of the day, it's going to be my best 11 versus their best 11. And I like our chances. So he's got some confidence. He's got some swagger. And he has led this Illinois offense with 2,811 passing yards and 21 touchdowns, while adding 188 yards and 4 more scores on the ground. But as we mentioned earlier, Illinois has given up 31 sacks. That's tied for the second most allowed in the Big Ten. A lot of those yards taken back by those sacks. But he's got a guy, Hank Beatty, that is Altmaier's top target through the year, with team highs in receptions with 64 and receiving yards with 826 to go along with 3 touchdowns. That's going to be a guy that I imagine Ty Redmond will match up against, will be a point of emphasis for Tennessee defensively in defending that pass. But a couple of guys to watch for outside of the quarterback and wide receiver duo. Sophomore wideout Colin Dixon, another name to know, 33 catches for 538 yards and a team leading 5 touchdowns. And then on the ground, you got Khalil Valentine and Caden Fegan, who lead the Illinois rushing attack with a combined 1,084 yards, 1,048 yards, errors and omissions, and 11 rushing touchdowns. I like Fegan a lot heading into the season, was not as productive as I had imagined. But also, keep in mind, this is a group that lost McCrary last year in the transfer portal, ended up going to Georgia and splitting carries there. If McCrary was still on this Illinois team, I think that would have been a huge hit for them.
Right.
But regardless of all of that, what do you make of this Illinois offense going up against a Tennessee defense that, it was bad this year and then it's losing their best players, so it could get interesting.
Yeah, they're a quality team. Like you said, Altmaier's an experienced quarterback. They don't do anything extremely well. They're just well balanced on both sides. They take care of the ball, different things like that. They struggled in their big games. I think they had the best win was probably USC earlier in the season, and things like that. So I expect them to put up some points today, put up some numbers against our defense that's lacking some of their best players and things like that. So, I expect them to put forth a good ball game, and, just got to be wary of Altmaier on the ground as well.
Well, you mentioned a couple of Tennessee's opt-outs. I always try to stay neutral. I don't want to say our or us, but
right.
You look at some of Tennessee's opt-outs. We talked about that earlier. Chris Brazel II, Jeremiah McCoy, Colton Hood, Arian Carter, Joshua Josephs. Illinois has a couple of significant opt-outs as well, none more significant than Gabe Jacas, who has been a handful for opposing offenses with the team high 13.5 tackles for loss and 11 sacks this season, tied for the second most in the Big Ten. He's not going to play, though, because this guy's headed to Sundays.
Yep.
Maybe he'll be a Jacksonville Jaguar here soon. I don't know. Duval had to get him in the broadcast today with a slight mention. But he was a guy I liked a lot heading into the preseason, a big reason why I liked this Illinois team. And that's a guy to know about, even though he's not playing, because he did have a huge impact for this Fighting Illini team throughout the season. Opt-outs are a part of bowl season, but really for two, Power 4 teams with a lot of talent, not a whole lot of opt-outs here. Like Jeremiah McCoy is technically on here, but he hadn't played it down all year.
Right.
And you're, missing a guy in Arian Carter and Josephs and Hood, and that's one guy at every position group defensively. But, only having a combined, 8 opt-outs between the two teams, and one of them for Illinois is just due to injury. He had surgery at the end of the season, is opting out because of that. I'd say that, it kind of shows that, both these teams want to get it done tonight, want to ride off into the offseason with some momentum. And I think that we're going to get a good game. I really do. And we'll continue talking about it when we return right here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Your smile says it all, so make sure it's saying the right thing. At Knoxville Smiles, we believe healthy teeth mean happy lives. Whether it's a routine cleaning, whitening for that big event, or fixing a nagging toothache, our gentle team is here for you. With flexible hours, family-friendly care, and the latest technology, Knoxville Smiles makes every visit stress-free. Don't wait another day to love your smile. Call Knoxville Smiles today at 865-539-1776 or book online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by Pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at boknowshouses.com.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
All right, back here on the Playbook, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us, however you may be doing so, live on the Fan Run YouTube. Also live here at Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee, getting ready for the Liberty Bowl. Not Liberty.
You're from Memphis.
I know. Liberty Mutual. I'm sorry, Liberty Mutual. I got some heads turning around. They're like, this guy's up here saying a bunch of nonsense.
We've had a bad season if we're playing that one.
Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual is a sponsor of this game. I do apologize.
Errors and omissions, right?
Errors and omissions. I mean, one person turned around and was like, what in the world?
Radio professional.
Who they got up here?
Yeah, we're just testing the crowd.
I know. The Music City Bowl, obviously, in Nashville, Tennessee. Getting ready for that one. Come out to Tennessee Tap House and watch the game with the Fan Run crew. We'll have the drive immediately following us up at 3 o'clock. That'll ride you right into the action. Kickoff set for 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. And we continue getting ready for this matchup. But before we do so, it's time to hit our best bets presented by VIP Play. Folks, bowl season is officially in full swing. The college football playoff quarterfinals on the horizon. The NFL postseason is as well. The best way to get in the action is the VIP Play app. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. When you make your first bet of $5 or more, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code Fan Run. That's Fan Run in all caps to claim those bonus bets. And if you're a Tennessee fan, maybe an NFL fan, a college football fan, whatever it may be, there's not a better way to get in the action. If you're in the state of Tennessee, use that code Fan Run for $100 in bonus bets. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. Brett, admittedly, it has been a tough stretch for me on the wagers, but this is what I'm eyeing for tonight. Obviously, I've got to continue to see where these lines shape up, where they round out, but Tennessee now up to 3 on most books, and this is a little bit of a notch ahead of what they've been at the 2.5. Now, Tennessee did open as a much larger favorite of 7.5, but due to all the opt-outs, it continually went down. But now we're at 3. I think we'll settle there, maybe 3.5 around kick. The over has continued to climb. We're now at 62.5. And my lean right now would be on that over because we've seen this Tennessee team play this season. We know that defense is at a premium. I lean towards the over, but I'm not going to take it officially until I see where these betting splits come out on the other end. I don't have the balls to take Tennessee. I don't. I've watched this team play too many times to take a side here, but I lean the under, continuing to get, the over, I say, continuing to get line movement there. You move 3 points within the last 24 hours, and the tickets are, moving appropriately. So I look at that for a Music City Bowl play. I can't believe I said that earlier. Music City Bowl. But I will say tonight, USC and TCU in action, and the Horned Frogs have had a difficult season. No Josh Hoover tonight. USC will have a lot of their main guys, at least at quarterback, and Jaden Maiava. No Jacoby Lane. That was a guy that was really strong this season. Malachi Lemon as well. Zesty in the end zone. Himself. I lean USC here. I know that's probably a little bit of a square play, but I didn't like TCU throughout the season, even with Josh Hoover. And now you take out a guy that's had over 9,000 yards of offense in his career. I feel like that's going to be a tough sledding for them. So really my leans right now, Tennessee on the over. And then I look at that TCU USC game, a lean on USC. We'll see where I end up siding. As always, make sure to follow on Twitter for my official plays. 1 and 4 in my last 5, though. So I've got to spurn that around. But hey, college football playoff this weekend and a lot of bowl games tomorrow, period. Yeah. So I have a lot of opportunities, folks. Don't give up on me just yet. I was strong throughout the season. Don't give up on me yet. Those are our best bets. Look ahead and recap and best bets of the night. I guess best leans of the night, I should say, presented by VIP Play. Make sure to download that VIP Play app. Use the code FANRUN. Get $100 in bonus bets instantly when you do so. And when we come back in hour number 2, we'll continue to touch on a couple more things in the Music City Bowl. And then we'll talk the college football playoff, 4 games over the next 36 hours, we'll say. Maybe not 30, 48 hours. We'll go 48. We'll go over the next 48 hours. We'll talk about those and also just continue the topic of postseason football. It's a good one this time of year, folks. Stay right here. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play, live from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Today, we raise a glass of Jameson Irish whiskey to the sport of football. Hear, hear!
To Gaelic football, born in Ireland in 1885 in its thrilling blend of soccer, rugby and basketball. On a massive field, 15 players kick or hand pass a round ball that scored points over a bar or into a net. No pads, no helmet, no sense.
Hear, hear!
To college football, which kicked off in 1869 when Rutgers beat Princeton 6-4 in the Battle of New Jersey. With 11 players and helmets and pads, teams battle on a 100-yard gridiron with explosive pass plays and hard-hitting tackles, unless you're called for targeting.
Hear, hear! Since 1780, Jameson Irish whiskey has been enjoyed by sports fans all around the globe. Whether your football is Gaelic, American, or even soccer, we can all agree on super smooth Jameson Irish whiskey. Hear, hear!
Are you tired of waiting on interest rates to drop before you start saving money? I'm Chris Burleson with University Lending Group, and I've got a better way. With a traditional closed-end mortgage, most of your payment goes straight to interest, not your balance. But with my Smart Loan, every deposit you make cuts your principal immediately and reduces interest in real time. On average, my clients pay off their mortgage in just 7 years. Call me today at 865-388-7634 or visit smartloantn.com and let's turn your income into financial freedom. NMLS number 332941.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
Are you tired of waiting on interest rates to drop before you start saving money? I'm Chris Burleson with University Lending Group, and I've got a better way. With a traditional closed-end mortgage, most of your payment goes straight to interest, not your balance. But with my Smart Loan, every deposit you make cuts your principal immediately and reduces interest in real time. On average, my clients pay off their mortgage in just 7 years. Call me today at 865-388-7634 or visit smartloantn.com and let's turn your income into financial freedom. NMLS number 332941.
Dick's House of Sport at West Town Mall is a destination devoted to sport, and it's your destination for exclusive events and experiences. Come visit a store like no other. Check out our 40-foot rock wall, golf performance center, Hit Track's batting cage, and outdoor turf field. You can now rent our space for private events and birthday parties. Learn more about our events and exclusive product launches on Facebook and Instagram at Dick's House of Sport KNX. Dick's House of Sport, proud partner of Tennessee Athletics.
Here we go. Hour number 2, live from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play. With Brett Howlander, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we continue to get you ready for the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl and the college football playoffs. Some NFL action this weekend in week 18 as the season enters the home stretch. We'll talk about it all here in this second hour. We appreciate those on the YouTube chat watching along with us and on the Fan Run Radio app. And if you're in that YouTube chat, don't be afraid to send a question, anything like that. Obviously, a little bit different today as we are remote at Tennessee Tap House. Doesn't mean you can't get involved in the action, as we'll still read your comments. We appreciate all of those listening. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate. Good time of year to be a football fan, as we've got a lot of action to continue to break down. In that first segment, in that first hour, I should say, we talked about the keys to the game, some intriguing storylines to watch for tonight's matchup in Nashville. And we still got a couple to cover. So we'll get to those, and then we'll get to that college football playoff, the quarterfinals. We were here earlier, and Tony Basilio does an incredible job. So happy to have him at the Fan Run family. He was interacting with some of the guests here, and he did a on-site handshake that Miami would win outright. Now, Miami is plus 300 on VIP Play, right? But he did a straight-up $50 bet with one of his listeners that Miami gets it done. And I don't think it's that crazy. Now, I would say it is crazy to take plus 100 odds instead of taking the plus 300 odds that you can get on VIP Play. But we'll talk about it a little bit later.
He did it straight up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He did it straight up, We'll talk about it here in a little bit. I don't think Miami is as big of an underdog as they are on the books and as some people are making out. We'll talk more about that here a little bit later. But want to continue to get ready for the Music City Bowl tonight between Tennessee and Illinois. Kickoff slated for 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. You can watch it with us here at Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee. Expecting a good crowd as we get closer to kickoff. People are starting to get off work a little bit early, say, hey, boss, the game's on. I got to get to Tennessee Tap House. That's what everyone's saying, I heard. That's what everyone's saying as they make their way over here. Hope to see you here. We'll continue to talk about this one, kind of put a bow on it, and then move over to the college football playoff. I think this is a big opportunity for Tennessee, as we talked about, moving into next season with momentum. There are a lot of teams out there that don't really approach bowl season the right way anymore. A lot of that due to their players. A lot of guys hopping in the portal saying, I'm opting out. Tennessee's got 5 guys opting out. Illinois has 3. For 2 teams that are towards the top of their respective conferences, hovering around that top 25 number in the coaches poll and AP poll, it's pretty good to only get 8 guys opting out between the combined teams. Obviously, some transfer portal players mixed into this. But in terms of guys that are just saying, I'm not playing, not a whole lot of that tonight. And I think for Tennessee, it's a big one because you have made the right move so far in the offseason. You got rid of Tim Banks. You made a championship hire in Jim Knowles, a move that I think is going to be very beneficial here in the future, if not next season. Good recruiter, good developer, a guy that's done it at the highest level, won a national championship with Ohio State last season. That's a championship move for Josh Heupel. You've made the right choices so far in the offseason. The third thing on that checklist that I always, kind of refer to, my hypothetical checklist that sits in front of me. You've done the top 2 things. Next thing is win the bowl game. That's tonight. You win the bowl game, you continue to ride in with momentum in the next year. And that 4th thing on the checklist, well, that starts in a couple of days on January 2nd when that transfer portal opens up. But continuing momentum is big, and putting a bow on it for me, Tennessee has to understand that. I think Josh Heupel and company do understand that, and hopefully you get a nice night out of Joey Aguilar, a potential record-setting performance for Joey Aguilar, who could break Peyton Manning's single-season record for total offense offense that was set in 1997 be the number one name on that list to achieve over 242 yards. I look at Deshaun Bishop, an opportunity for him. Hey, you're running back one now, brother. You got to go and take that on to the fullest extent possible, because you do want to see Dwayne Morris, you do want to see Justin Baker, but those guys don't have as much experience. You're that guy tonight. Go show that to those young players that feel like they might have been slighted throughout the season. I should have been playing in this game. Man, if they just gave me an opportunity, well, here's your chance. Here's your opportunity to go play. So big game tonight. I think there'll be a good crowd in Nissan Stadium too. I would have gone, but then I looked at that weather and said, I'll pass. I'd rather be inside the warm confines and cold beverages of Tennessee Tap House. I don't envy the people who are going to sit out there in the cold today, but if you are and you're listening, best of luck. I hope
you had to anticipate those December 30th.
Well, hold on now, Brett. As we were talking about yesterday,
you can't predict the weather.
As we were talking about yesterday, though, it was 70 degrees on Christmas.
Exactly.
It was 70 degrees.
You can't just pick your day.
But the Liberty
How
Bowl.
about if we won, not lost to Vandy, we could play playing in Florida right now.
I agree.
I mean, we did it to ourselves. Maybe maybe we earned playing in this horrible stadium in this terribly cold weather. Maybe this is what our punishment is. William, have you thought about that?
It may be.
I think that could be part of the problem today, though, too. Cold weather, trying to get motivated to play this game. Is Heupel a motivator to you?
I think he has to be motivated tonight. I will say, if you had all the places to go in terms of bowl games,
this is one of the worst.
Well, in terms of location,
as a fan or as a player, or what are we talking about? As a fan, I can understand at Broadway.
Fan or player, and Nashville is a good spot.
I mean, I don't know what they've been up to. I mean, obviously they're not practicing at Vandy.
Well,
right?
They've been practicing at Montgomery Bell Academy. A lot of people have.
Is that where Mac? That's not where Mac there.
No, that's where Marcel Reed went.
Yes,
Texas A&M quarterback.
Did Spillman go there? No, that was Lipscomb. Anyway, but yeah. So anyway, Nashville. This is a good spot for you for a bowl game.
I think it's an enjoyable spot for like a fan or a player to go to. I don't think that's a.
What do they give you as a guitar as a gift? You know,
I like going to Nashville.
Get the Xbox.
Would you rather go to Nashville or would you rather go to Myrtle
Tampa?
Beach?
No, definitely. I don't know. It's the beach, right? A lot of these guys probably never even seen the beach.
Yeah,
things like that. So I don't know. I feel like this is I'd rather it be in Florida. I guess. I don't know. But it could be worth playing Iowa or somebody like that again. But no, I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know. I worry about the motivating factors in this game, trying to get motivated up to play this game.
Brett is going to be visited by 3 ghosts at some point in his life, says Jason Sheck 9591. I like that comment. Walker texting us back at the station. Again, great job from Walker Smith today. We got Matthew in Dallas on the line. What's up, Matthew in Dallas?
I'm with you, Will. I'm watching it from the combines of 30 degrees down here in Dallas, and I will be nice and warm.
There you go. I don't blame you. You got to stay inside and avoid the frozen tundra that's about to go over the ugly and horrible concrete palace of Nissan Stadium.
Yeah. I love
Matthew's down there with the Ohio State fans and Miami fans, I guess, right now.
There you go, yeah.
Brett, you bring up a great point. That game is a very intriguing game, and for whatever reason, and tickets are in the lows of $30 to $40. I mean, I don't know what it is, if Miami fans aren't traveling, if Ohio State fans are looking ahead, but if I didn't have plans, I mean, that's a very decent game you can check out in Jerry World.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's a big-time matchup, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. I think Miami can beat them. I think Miami will beat them. I said it in my playoff predictions. I said the winner of Texas A&M, Miami would beat Ohio State.
Well, man that wants his Chili's.
We'll talk about it later. It has nothing to do with Chili's bet. Matthew in Dallas, Brett and I have got a Chili's bet. He's got Ohio State. I've got the field in terms of
winning it all.
So I've got 7 still alive right now.
You went against your Texas Tech Raiders?
I did. I've got Oregon winning it all, unfortunately. I had to go against my Fighting Tortillas. I will say a lot of that was due to the health of Oregon as they're getting back healthier, but Evan Stewart not going to play on New Year's Day against Texas Tech. But I do love my tortillas still. They know that.
Well, gentlemen, I know we could sit here and talk tortillas, chili, and tickets, so I'll make it quick. Look, I've been thinking about this for the last couple of hours, and it hit me, this will probably, and I hate that I'm speculating, but I think most of us will agree that the staff that is coaching today is probably going to get blown up, the majority of them, except for Rodney Garner. Praise the big man upstairs. But the question I have for you all, when you look at somebody like Willie Martinez and his coaching, recruiting, whatever you want to remember, I'll give him a little credit. It's my understanding that he did help go out and find guys like Jermod McCoy and Colton Hood, and those guys were already kind of seasoned and tenured, and they were able to kind of spark our secondary as best they could the last 2 years, this year and last year. But my question to you all was, in that next coach, whether it be somebody like Poindexter or whomever, would you rather have a coach, and I know you hate hypotheticals, would you rather have a coach that can go out and recruit and bring in top-end talent, or would you rather have a coach that can develop that talent? And I'll hang up with that thought. Take care, boys.
Great question there from Matthew in Dallas. We appreciate you calling in, as always. He's asking, would you rather have a coach that could develop, or would you rather have a coach that can go get that high-end talent? I think, it's a tough question because sometimes there are those high-caliber recruits at a high school that just don't make it. They might be 6'4", coming off the edge at 250 pounds. They look like a grown man, but they come in, they've got a bad work ethic. They've got they're not focused.
Right.
They have a tough time learning. On the other side of the coin, you could have a guy that comes in with a chip on his shoulder and develop. And I think you've seen under Ronnie Garner, you can get guys like that. You can, get some.
They're easier to coach, right?
Yeah, they're easier to coach. Like they like to learn. But I'm going to have to go with the blue chip here.
Oh, okay.
Because when you look at the teams that win the national championship, their blue chip ratio is in the high 60s to low 70s. Like Ohio State last year, up and down that roster had blue chip prospects. And I think that really matters at the end of the day. Georgia right now, 90% of their starts this season have come from high school recruits. That's the highest percentage out of any of those college football playoff teams. Don't tell me that high school recruiting's gone away because of the transfer portal. It hasn't. If you can bring in those high chip, blue chip players and put them in your system and continue to let them learn and grow, their builds will do the talking. I mean, there's a difference between getting a 6'1", 220 edge and a 6'4", 250 edge that can run as fast as the other guy. There's just a difference between the two. So I would go the blue chip route, and I'd rather have a coach that can recruit those guys and bring those guys in and not have to worry about having the better personnel. Because, JMU, they fought their tail off all year. JMU was a good football team. They didn't have the athletes out there. They didn't have the guys out there. So I'd go the blue chip route. What would your answer be, Brett?
Well, I think you've seen it, and he mentions Martinez, and we didn't get the high end talent, but he coached him into being the high end talent. And when you talk about two guys that possibly are going to go in the first round of the NFL draft in the back end, that's crazy to me. I know he transferred, but Jacoby Thomas, another guy he brought in. You see what he's doing in Miami and how big of a loss he is for us. And things like Ricky Gibson, another guy's probably going to be playing on Sundays. Another guy's developed. We see, Pierce popping on Sundays. Tennessee is, putting guys in the league, and they're not these 5-star kids. They're 5 stars once they get on, in high school and things like that. You don't know how they're going to develop.
Yeah.
Boo Carter was a high 4-star. He's one of the top players in the portal, but he was a bit of a head case, right? And so you don't know what you're getting with these guys. Yes, talent's good and all, but I'm pleased with what we've seen from we were bashing him a couple of years ago and how bad he was, but now he's really improved. And talent wins, but I think you can coach players to be really quality players as well.
Looking at the YouTube chat real quick, J.R. Lowe says, according to a lot of Tennessee fans, recruiting doesn't matter if we just fire the coaches every 3 years.
Wow.
I like that. That's a comment from the section on on YouTube. Some good ones. I always appreciate the YouTube chat timing in. That also got a couple of laughs from the people inside the building here. So great job on that one, J.R. Lowe. But I mean, I think that you have to find the balance of, we'll get the right coaches in place. And I think Jim Knowles is that guy because I think he has done it at a championship level. A lot of people are concerned about, well, it's going to take 2 years to get his system in place. Well, I think a little bit of that this year at Penn State was just things quickly snowballed for them. They had some really talented players, but they also had some guys that were out of position.
Yeah.
And guys that, hadn't played a certain way. Denai Dennis Sutton, an example of that. Like Knowles tried to kind of move him around, make him in that Micah Parsons type of gig. And I thought Denai Dennis Sutton is a really, really good player. I still do. But some guys can fit that role, some guys can't. And I think that once he gets to Tennessee, it's about going out in the portal over these next couple of weeks and go getting those guys that can fit his system. That's the bonus, as opposed to what Knowles had go down last year.
Mm-hmm.
Knowles was still coaching football when the transfer portal opened up last year. Knowles will now be a guy that can go out into the portal, get his staff figured out. We hope to see that here in the next couple of days. And go get the guys he wants to play those positions. The difference between last year, Knowles came into a Penn State team that already had all their guys in place, right? So now he can go out and pick those guys with his own opinion on them. So,
but also on the other side, you can look at Indiana.
Sure.
A team that's just well coached. They got players here and there, but for the most part, they don't have that huge number of blue chip players, things like that. So, Texas Tech, I know they bought some players here and there, to make their team better. But you've seen the bad side of it. Florida State, they've tried to hit the portal exclusively with just high-end talent, and it's completely derailed what Florida State has come to know. Clemson, a little similar. So there are cases where, hey, these guys might be talented, but can you coach them up? Indiana, though, is proving that you don't need that high-end talent necessarily to go and win football games at a high level.
Florida State is like a guy that's never been deep sea fishing that drops his lure in the water and just starts reeling everything up, doesn't even know what he's going to grab. That's kind of what Florida State is. And I think that's an extreme case of just going in the portal, okay, looking at the stars, this guy's going to be good.
But you got to coach those guys.
I agree. I know. Yeah,
they're talented players, but yeah, you're right.
But again, finding that balance of a guy that can coach and a guy that can also identify talent. I think Heupel can coach offense. I think he's done a pretty good job of evaluating talent. I think the offensive line right now has continued, like over a couple of years ago, it was bad.
Yeah.
But now you've continued to get better over the last couple of seasons. Now you're going to have two 5-stars making starts next season in Gabriel Osenda and David Sanders Jr. I guess technically Lance Hurd as well, but Lance Hurd wasn't recruited by Tennessee out of high school. But even this year, this was a really strong group. Jesse Perry, a guy that had to fill the void early on in the season, ended up being one of your best guys. So I think the talent identification from Heupel is there. The defensive side of the ball, you haven't had that, and maybe Knowles is the one that changes it. But Knowles did bring over that guy, Chaz Coleman. Chaz Coleman is a number 2 guy in the portal right now. I think he got dropped because of a Utah guy that just entered. But that's a guy that's drawing a lot of attention for the right reason. That's a guy Jim Knowles recruited and saw.
Yeah.
Real quick, YouTube chat, J.R. Lowe, overall, Heupel's grade at Tennessee is a 9 out of 10. Did a lot of winning with Pruitt's players, though. That is true. But I think he brought a couple of guys over, right? He also brought in some players that quickly changed things. I know that Hendon Hooker was technically still a Jeremy Pruitt guy, but he still had to develop him. Still had to develop that guy. Nico Imaliava was a guy that he brought in. And while the quarterback play wasn't pristine, it was enough to get you to a college football playoff. I think the defenses you've brought in with a really good defensive line coach and Ronnie Gardner.
All the running backs we brought in.
All the running. I mean, we're talking today. Deshaun Bishop could become the 3rd consecutive Tennessee running back, go over 1,000 yards in a season.
Yeah, producing SEC Player of the Year.
Exactly. Exactly. So I would tend to agree. I don't know if I'd go at 9 out of 10 because I did think this year was a big disappointment.
Oh yeah, this brings it way down.
And also just the way Tennessee was outplayed in the game against Ohio State last year. I know Ohio State mowed through a lot of teams, but I thought what they did to Tennessee was unlike any other. I know what they did to Oregon was impressive as well, but they'd already played that Oregon team that season. They'd already had the opportunity to scout against them. Tennessee walked in there and got shellacked.
Yeah.
So I
with the wrong mindset.
I wouldn't go 9 out of 10, as you're saying on the chat, but I do agree. I think you have to give some sort of credit and approval to what he's done over the last couple of years. All right, before we hit the break and head back for some college football playoff talk, let's get in some predictions for tonight. Tennessee and Illinois, the Music City Bowl, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Folks, if you're in Knoxville, if you're watching this on the YouTube stream right now, come on over to Tennessee Tap House. The Drive broadcasting right after us, beginning at 3 o'clock. Russell Smith and the Bear. And Walker Smith, obviously, at the station doing a great job helping us out today. They'll be live from 3 to 5:30, getting you ready for kickoff. This place will be packed.
Got some swag.
Got some swag, some hats, some cups, some sweaters. It's cold, folks. It's cold. Get some sweaters. Put a hat on your head, too. You'll look the part here at Tennessee Tap House. Come out and join us. Prediction time for me. I look at Tennessee winning this one 31-28. I think you're going to see a lot of offense.
Not covering.
In the second half, you'd push. You'd push.
You would push, yes.
I think you'll see a lot of offense in the second half, but I think things are going to get off to a little bit of a slow start.
Just the layoff.
Just because of the layoff, knocking off the rust, a couple of new guys in place that would not usually be there.
Does the cold weather
affect the cold weather most definitely affects it. I hate playing in the cold. I hate the cold. I'm sure a lot of guys on this team do. And last time Tennessee played in freezing cold weather, Brett, what was the result of that game? Well, it was a 42-17 beatdown in Columbus.
Yep.
And I know this is a completely different team. I know that Illinois is not what Ohio State was last year, but I do think the cold weather does play a factor into this. I go 31-28 Tennessee by a narrow margin. We'll see if I decide to play that over. But I think for Tennessee, anything over 30 is a target number.
Yeah, you got to get
over 30.
That's been the magic number all season.
It has. You've got to get over.
You're missing so many pieces.
Yes. Yeah. You got to get over 30, been the magic number all year.
You got an X factor today's game? You going to go with one of these young guys?
I'm going to go Radar Jackson. Radar Jackson been a little bit banged up throughout the season. You know what you've got with Deshaun Bishop, and hopefully he's able to have a successful day on the ground. I think it's important that Tennessee gets that because this is a good rush defense for Illinois, top 30 in the country. But their pass defense in the sub-80s. Radar Jackson, a guy that Josh Heupel showed a lot of trust in early in the season. Give that guy an opportunity in a very Jalen Hyatt 2021 Music City Bowl fashion. Give me Tennessee 31-28.
Well, foreshadowing for next year.
Hopefully. Your prediction, Brett?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of points for sure. I mean, both teams should get over the 30 number, I feel like. Obviously that can change because the slow start changes things, but I feel like you feel like maybe the defenses come out early and get some stops and things like that. But I think once the things settle down, the offenses start rolling, I think Tennessee takes it 38-34.
Okay, 38-34 and then 31-28 are two predictions, both wins for the Tennessee Volunteers. When we come back, we'll talk the college football playoff, 4 quarterfinal games in action this week. Stay right here. It's the Playbook presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio, live from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ball
Yes,
fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
All right, back here on the Playbook, live from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville, Tennessee. We appreciate you listening along with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on that X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. Big shout out to Tennessee Tap House today for having us out. We're getting a photo op, it looks like, over here as well. But really excited to be over here at Tennessee Tap House, getting ready for Tennessee and Illinois in the Music City Bowl tonight. But there's a lot of other action going down over the next couple of days, and that is the college football playoff quarterfinals. And we'll get into a little extended preview. We did a little bit of talking about it yesterday, but we'll continue to get ready for the action, as the college football playoff quarterfinals will feature a matchup of multi-time national champions, a game pitting two programs searching for natty number one, and an SEC rematch, and the first meeting ever between Indiana and Alabama, a tweak to the seeding after the first 12-team college football playoff format this year allowed for us to have some more intriguing matchups than we did this time last year. Remember, it was Boise State and Arizona State getting those automatic buys. They went away from that this year. And now we've got some pretty compelling games, the matchups people want to see as they're getting their party hats and streamers out on
People
New
can't
Year's Eve.
be complaining about these matchups.
Oh,
this
no,
year.
they can't. No, not at all.
I think the only thing they're saying is they prefer them to be maybe these home campus sites.
See, I like it. You got to have the big bowls. The Rose Bowl, to me, is anything cooler than you can get on campus, personally. The Rose Bowl is historic.
Yeah, I agree. But save them for the semifinals.
But then what would those games become? Are we having the Sugar Bowl between Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech? Is that what we're going to have if we get away from those?
I guess that's true. That's another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's cool seeing those on-campus games last week.
I agree.
That you had, and these are the top 4 teams. Maybe they deserve a
Yeah.
home playoff game.
I agree. I think if you were to get multiple on-campus games,
and maybe when if they expand
it'd
again,
be through expansion.
Yeah.
It'd be if you go to 16. I don't want anything more than 16.
No,
and that would be my hard cap final. I know every year it's like, well, let's just put 4 more teams in because these 4 every year is going to be different, right?
Yep.
This year, you had Notre Dame, you had Miami, BYU, you had Texas, Vanderbilt. You had a lot of teams that literally just, had an argument. Now, last year we were debating 9-3 South Carolina, 9-3 Ole Miss, and 9-3 Alabama. That's a year you don't need it. But this year,
you could have had it.
You could have had it.
Yeah.
And I think if you went to that 16-team format, the first 2 rounds, you have games hosted at that host site to the highest seed. Obviously, you'll have a 1 seed taken on this year it would have been Ohio State and lowly JMU going down in the shoe. That one probably wouldn't have been pretty.
Would have been like the Oregon one.
Yeah. But regardless, still some good matchups this weekend. A lot of fun. I mean, really, you read the names of these teams, all the best teams throughout the season in action on New Year's week. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Let's talk the Cotton Bowl, which kicks things off on December 31st. That's tomorrow, New Year's Eve in Arlington, Texas. Ohio State made an appearance in last year's Cotton Bowl against Texas in the college football playoff semifinal matchup. They got it done off a big-time play from Jack Sawyer off the edge. Ended up taking it back for a touchdown, and that was a big win for Ohio State, obviously, as they move to the national championship game after that. But they make a reappearance this year. This time, it's a rematch of the 2003 national championship between Miami and Ohio State.
Great game.
In anticipation of the college football playoff, when I was doing my bracket, I said the winner of Texas A&M Miami would beat Ohio State. Now, a lot of people might be saying, William, oh my gosh, are you insane? Ohio State? How could they
You're
lose?
insane.
How could they lose? Well,
how could they lose?
Let's be real.
Okay.
Ohio State, first off, has played in 3 big games this year. Against Texas,
1.
A version of Arch Manning that was not ready to play football. They had, 4, 5 red zone possessions and only 7 points to show for?
Mm-hmm.
That was a 1-score game in the shoe. Let's go a little bit later on throughout the season. Michigan, I'll give them that one. But let's be real. Michigan only got 70 yards from their quarterback.
Yeah, but
Bryce
Michigan had
Underwood.
owned Ohio State.
I get it. But is Michigan that good of a team this year? I don't think so. And they had an 18, 19-year-old quarterback that, again, plays into one of my other storylines. 18, 19-year-old quarterbacks don't win games. Against Indiana, another really talented team, they ended up losing outright in a 1-score, 1-possession game. Miami has all the talent that Ohio State does, just on a little bit of a smaller notch. They don't have as many of them.
No.
But Francis Magoa is going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. C.J. Daniels is a really strong wide receiver. Malachi Toney, really strong wide receiver, freshman All-American. Carson Beck might look like the guy from Ice Age, but, man, he's played a lot of football. He knows what he's doing. And if you get the good version of Carson Beck, that's scary for an Ohio State defense. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't think there's a better front in the country than what Miami's about to roll at you with Akeem Mazador and Reuben Bain Jr. Those 2 guys are tougher than nails.
Yeah.
I like both of those guys, and I know that they don't have like the Caleb Downs of the world and the Arvell Reeses of the world, but my golly, they've got some guys that play with violent physicality and fly to the football, one of those being Jacoby Thomas, a former Tennessee Volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at this game, I don't think it's as lopsided as it looks on paper. Right now on the betting services, a 9-point line. I don't agree with that. I like Miami to keep this thing close and win it. I really do. I know people love Ohio State. But there hasn't been a team that has won back-to-back national champions since Georgia. They're the only team in the college football playoff format to do so, and that was in the 4-team format. No team in the 12 yet to do so. And there have only been 3 teams since 1998 that have gone back-to-back. Odds tell me this thing isn't ending the way a lot of people think right now, despite Ohio State.
Do you think that bye week's a real thing?
I do.
Momentum?
I do. I think the bye week's a real thing.
Okay.
Because you play throughout the season on a schedule, right?
Right.
And you're going to have a bye week every now and then, but you're prepared for that. You go a month without playing, that throws off your internal clock. That messes up how you go through your preparation. Miami played a week ago.
Right.
They're still in that football mode. It's almost like they had a bye and then another bye in between the games. Ohio State, had 26 days off, 25 days off.
Right.
So I like Miami here. Real quick on the YouTube chat, Deuce Knight enters the portal. That is true.
Deuce Knight's going to rise somewhere else.
Deuce Knight's going to rise somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw he was the 8th overall player in the portal, which is crazy.
Auburn's now had 29 players exit since Hugh Freeze has been fired.
Yeah,
29th player in the portal for
got
Auburn.
a tough job ahead of him.
Deuce Knight's going to be a good football player somewhere. Golish choosing Byron Brown, most likely.
Yeah.
Causing a rift in the locker room, to my understanding. Brett, what do you make of Miami, Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked Ohio State all season. I felt like they were the best team. Had a little hiccup there against Indiana. Not the end of the world. Probably should have won the game. Had some bad red zone plays there by Ryan Day. Missed field goal, chip shot from a guy that maybe shouldn't be kicking. And maybe you see the other guy you mentioned, the transfer they have in there. So I do like Ohio State. Weather played a factor in the way Carson Beck played last week against A&M, I believe. But I feel like they're going to be able to pressure Beck into some turnovers, things like that. And I think this one could get out of hand. I like Ohio State more comfortably to win this one more so than any other matchup.
I don't like the out of hand part there, Brett.
I do, because I mean, I just don't like Miami's offense enough.
Okay.
I don't think Fletcher's going to have the field day against A&M, things like that. I think we saw what happened when Ohio State picked up a loss last year. The rest was history. They kind of rolled through. Seemed like there's some chirping going on between Jeremiah Smith and the Miami team. I don't think I would poke that bear personally, but I'm not guarding Jeremiah Smith, so nor would I try. So, I think saying it's going to make enough big throws, and when you get those guys on the outside, it makes it tough. So I do like Ohio State to blow past that 9.5 number.
Jeremiah Smith, a second-year star out of Coral Gables, Florida, just down the road.
Yep.
That's the University of Miami. If he decided to stay in Miami,
if they were a better football program
he said
at the
that
time.
earlier in the week. He would have stayed in Miami if they were a better team. All right, the Orange Bowl, number 5 Oregon versus my Fighting Tortillas, number 4 seeded Texas Tech. The big reason that I liked Oregon heading into the playoffs was that they were getting healthier. They were getting some guys back, but also the production they've had from the guys that have been available over the course of the season. Kenyon Sadiq, one of this hybrid, blocking, pass catching tight ends at 6'4", and the guy looks like he's been at the gym all night. A guy that rips through the pads.
Yeah,
he's a really nice development for this team. McClellan, their wide receiver, has done a good job in the absence of DeCorian Moore. Moore is going to be back for this one. Greg Bryant Jr. going to be back for this one as well. No Evan Stewart, though. I still want to see what this could possibly look like if he's able to come back and play. I know it's not likely. I know I can't base everything off of Evan Stewart possibly coming back and playing after suffering a major injury in the offseason. But I think Oregon, talent-wise, we talked a little bit earlier, just in terms of that blue-chip talent, I think Oregon's got that. And in a matchup where I think both defenses are right on that same level, I favor quarterback play for Oregon. I favor the offensive line for Oregon. I like the running back for Texas Tech, and Cameron Dickey has had an incredible season.
Mm-hmm.
I think the wide receivers kind of tilt back to Oregon at this point, even though Texas Tech's got some good ones. I like Terrence Carter a lot, a guy that's going to be an NFL player here soon at tight end / fullback, kind of a hybrid guy there. C.J. Douglas, a former Florida prospect, 4-star out of high school, was with the Gators for a couple of seasons, has been a go-to guy for them. They got a couple of guys, man.
Yeah.
But I think Oregon just has a little bit more, and I give them the slight edge. I think the number of 1.5 is pretty evident of how close it's going to be. I lean Oregon here.
Yeah, I do too. And I think it's just simply the fact I think Dante Moore's just a little better quarterback than Bear Morton. I think the two teams on paper are about as even as it gets. talent on both sides of the ball. I do like how Oregon's adjusted their play style, been a little bit more physical a team than we've seen in past years. Normally, you don't think defense and run the ball like Oregon has, but I was highly impressed when they went on the road, I think against Iowa, and won a 18-16 ball game where they had to really focus on the run game and things like that. So I do think this is an ultimate pick 'em, but I think as to your point, I think Dante Moore is just better than Baron Morton, is going to make more plays with the weapons on the outside than Texas Tech have.
All right, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl between Alabama and Indiana. I think this is a very fitting matchup. You got two red-colored teams traveling to Pasadena, one of the most historic sites in all of college football. You got two coaches that used to coach at each other's places. You got Kalen DeBoer, who was an offensive coach for Indiana not too long ago. We all know about Kirk Cignetti and what he looked like under Nick Saban. The pictures you find when you look up his time at Alabama are very grainy. That shows how long ago it was. I think Kirk Cignetti has built a really, really good team at Indiana, and a team that is a lot deeper than what you read into from the media or what you watch on TV. If you turn this team on TV and someone's talking about it, they have it at every halftime now in the offseason, throughout bowl season. Everyone's talking about the college football playoff, whatever it may be. All you hear about is Kirk Cignetti, the guy, and Fernando Mendoza, the player. This is a team much deeper than that. Omar Cooper at wide receiver, one of the fastest guys in this playoff. Elijah Surratt, arguably the best receiver in this playoff, going to be an NFL player. And defensively, no one talks about Indiana. It's all about Mendoza and Cignetti. This defense has multiple really good defensive players. D'Angelo Pons, he's undersized at 5'11", going up against some good wide receivers for Alabama. One of them has a little bit of a catching issue, though. I think that's important for wide receivers to do. Ryan Williams hasn't done much catching this season. But I think Indiana is a matchup for Alabama because they're sound in all aspects of their game. Alabama, I think, is the only team that has a lopsided part of the ball. They're a much better passing team than they are running. They can't run the ball worth a crap. And Oklahoma might have a better defense overall than Indiana, but Indiana's offense is going to be a totally different machine, unlike what they have seen over the last month.
Moment too big for an Indiana team, for a Kirk Cignetti team.
I thought any questions of the moment for Indiana should have been silenced when they went on the road against Penn State and found a way to win that one. And any questions of the moment should have been silenced in the final moments of that Big Ten championship game.
All right.
I like Indiana here, 6.5 or more.
You know, this one's tough. We all hate Alabama around here, but our job is to make picks in this situation.
Correct.
And I think an upset's going to happen. I don't consider Oregon. No. I don't think Oregon's an upset over Texas Tech. That's a pick 'em.
Yeah,
one's 5, one's 4. I do, for some reason. Alabama's defense is pretty good. I like their skill positions, and they haven't been able to run the ball against anybody, but here they are, quarterfinals of the big dance. So, I think Alabama pulls an upset in this one. Call me crazy.
There you go.
But yeah, I think Alabama, with the weapons on the outside, I think they make some plays. Ty Simpson, I think, that momentum that we talk about, scoring 34 unanswered against Oklahoma on the road, I think that did a world for their confidence. DeBoer's a big-time coach, and I think they get it done against Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
So your upset is Alabama. My upset is Miami. I feel like the viewers and listeners would probably lean to one side a little bit more than the other.
I would agree.
And they'll probably be in your corner, Brett. So that's a good side to be in. All right, final game before we hit the break. The Sugar Bowl, number 6 Ole Miss versus number 3 Georgia. The third rematch we have gotten that occurred in the regular season, now in the playoffs. The opponent that lost the first game of the season is 1-1 in those first 2 games. Obviously, Alabama got their lick back and beat Oklahoma. Tulane enjoyed the bus drive to Ole Miss, but that was about it. On the number, I like Ole Miss here. Georgia's the most bet side of the weekend heading into Thursday. A lot of people like Georgia, and deservedly so. Georgia's played really good football, but this is going to be a back-and-forth game. I don't like Ole Miss's defense. I don't, and I thought they got exposed against Tulane. I mean, they allowed 410 yards of total offense. I know they only scored, 10 points, but Tulane moved the ball with ease. I think that is an issue. I'm interested to see how Georgia goes through their offensive progressions, because against Alabama, we almost kind of saw a different offensive scheme than they had run all year, where it was just a ton of, outside runs and stuff that was situated for Gunnar Stockton to be able to kind of piece his way down the field. I'm interested to see if they do that again up against an Ole Miss defense that hasn't done a great job of getting tackles for loss, causing turnovers, or getting sacks. I think if Ole Miss wants to win the game, they've got to get pressure. They haven't been able to do much of it all year. Getting pressure for them is going to be important. Offensively, they're going to have to be sound. Kejuan Lacey has got to be healthy. He's got to be impactful, because if Kejuan Lacey's not, this now becomes a different Ole Miss offense, and that scares me a little bit. I do like Ole Miss to keep this one close. You've got two offenses that can go back and forth. I'll take Ole Miss to cover. I'll take Georgia to win.
How difficult of a job is Pete Golding of being the head coach now in this moment? Because, do you think he's just strictly focused on his defense and getting the job there? Or is he looking at the whole team?
I sure hope that the reason why Tulane's offense was able to move the ball at ease against Ole Miss was because Pete Golding knew that they were going to win that game and started looking ahead. I hope that's the case. I really hope so, because Pete Golding
they gave up 50 to him in the first meeting.
Yeah,
didn't they?
who? To Tulane?
No.
Ole Miss. Yes, to Georgia, I should say. 43-35 was that final.
Okay, yeah.
So almost 50 points.
Yeah.
But I hope it was because Golding was progressing towards Georgia. And honestly, he probably was. I don't blame him. They probably knew they could roll out and do whatever against Tulane and get it done. Not going to be able to do that against Georgia, hoping they have a better defensive performance. But in terms of having to balance now the head coaching duties as well as being the defensive coordinator, I think that does play a factor into it. But now he's had a full month to get ready for it. Can't be an excuse on Thursday.
You've known who you're going to be playing for a couple of weeks now and stuff like that. So, yeah, I do think this will be a close ball game. Georgia seems to be hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
It'll be tough for Ole Miss too. I do think it could be an exciting game like we saw the first matchup, though. I do like Georgia, though, in this one.
All right, that is our college football playoff quarterfinals preview. The action begins tomorrow in the Cotton Bowl between Miami and Ohio State, rounding out with 3 games on New Year's Day. And we'll round out a Tuesday edition of the Playbook right here on Fan Run Radio when we return from Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies, acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
Have you ever found yourself wishing your clothes looked brand new again? Whether it's your favorite suit, that little black dress, or your comfy winter coat, Crown Cleaners can make it happen. From stubborn stains to delicate fabrics, the expert team at Crown Cleaners uses the latest cleaning technology to ensure your clothes come back looking and feeling fresh. Visit one of their 2 area locations, Kingston Pike on Bearden Hill or South North Shore Drive near Dunkin' Donuts. Online at crowncleaners.com. Crown Cleaners, a tradition of excellence.
All right, back here on the playbook, rounding things out on a Tuesday. We appreciate you hanging out with us, whether it's been on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM here in K-Town, or on that YouTube live stream, or here at Tennessee Tap House in Knoxville. Great crowd today, anticipating an even bigger crowd as we get closer to kickoff. The drive with Russell Smith and the Bear will follow us up directly after we're done. They'll get you ready with those final thoughts before the action inside Nissan Stadium between the Fighting Illini and Volunteers tonight. We'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. Some New Year's resolutions, possibly, Brett. I know New Year's is on the horizon. I'm headed to Atlanta tomorrow.
Nice.
For the official New Year's party of the Georgia Aquarium.
Oh, okay. That'd be fun.
Interested to see how it goes. I've never been. I've always stayed in Memphis for New Year's in the past. This is the first time I'm meeting somewhere else for New Year's, and we're doing this thing. All my friends and I are going to the Georgia Aquarium, and they got a party there. So we're doing that.
Party with the animals.
We'll see. We'll see. Right? Hopefully. Not too much because I got to get up and watch these games, cover these games in the morning.
That's right. I'll get your bets in.
That is true. But I did get a hotel for 2 nights so I can get up and not have to leave.
Got you.
And I can just get up and do my stuff in the morning. But for you, any New Year's plans, any New Year's resolutions as we round out our final edition of the playbook in 2025?
No, not really any New Year's plans. No, not for me. Usually the New Year's resolutions are typically the same stuff, stay happy, stay healthy, that sort of stuff. Continue to grow, hopefully with Fan Run and see where this thing goes for us as a company and a sports show and things like that, working with you, things like that. We've had a good couple months here. Hopefully we continue that for 26 as well. Hopefully Tennessee Athletics continues, their upward trajectory. I'm interested to see how the new regimen with Elander goes and things like that. So, just simple for me. How about yourself?
I feel like this has been a very interesting year for myself, to be honest. Rounding out your final semester of college in the first half of the year, the quick and sudden reality that you aren't in college anymore, and you can't go out 3 to 4 times a week. And the final semester,
be an adult, man.
And the final semester, we were going out Tuesday to Saturday to round out our college. I probably shouldn't be broadcasting that anyway, but it's just the truth, right?
Yeah, it's college kid.
And this fall, it's been a big change of, all right, you got to start acting like an adult now. You got to start making, real life decisions. So I feel like this fall has been really beneficial for me in terms of, getting healthier, being more on task, doing what I want to do.
Yes.
And I feel like just continuing that, building off that momentum, kind of like we want Tennessee to do tonight in the Music City Bowl, build off that momentum heading into the offseason. And I feel like that's my New Year's resolution, just to continue growing on the progress that we've made in the fall and then continue to see where that takes us.
Yeah, and I know it's all about the bowl game, but we do have a basketball game today.
That is true,
and we need momentum because conference play starts January 3rd with a big one at Arkansas.
Yes, it does.
And things like that, and we saw some progress made last couple of games with them. So hopefully, tonight shouldn't be much of a challenge, but hopefully get that momentum. Momentum's the word of the day, I guess, and going into the portal and now into conference basketball play. Yeah. Because we have a big January for Tennessee basketball as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to get to the hoops team, but you do play South Carolina State tonight.
They're one of the worst teams in college basketball. Yeah.
And you're also coming off of a game where you played Gardner-Webb.
Yeah.
Which I would love to have seen the watching eyes on that game. I don't think it would have been very many. I don't think maybe it was.
We should be in the fourth quarter.
Tonight's on SEC Network. Though. It is on SEC Network, so I think you'll get some viewers for it. But that one's going to directly follow the Music City Bowl tonight. So if you're here at Tennessee Tap House, stick around for a Tennessee doubleheader. You might as well.
And they got voluntary reaction tonight as well.
Voluntary reaction. I don't envy Russell. He's got a lot of work to do today. He's got the drive coming up. Russell and Bear. The drive and they got voluntary reaction. That's a lot of talking.
It is.
Well, maybe
Hopefully, a lot of good talking.
If things go well, it's a lot of positivity.
Yes.
And maybe they don't have to talk as much. But I feel like if it goes the wrong way, they might not be able to get a whole lot of words in. That's usually how it goes.
Yep.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for a Tuesday edition of the Playbook, our final 2025 edition of the Playbook. We appreciate you listening along with us. Special thanks to Tennessee Tap House for having us out today. For Brett Hullander, I'm William Pattison. Coming up next, it's The Drive on Fan Run Radio.